All right, you guys starting to work on the last section here we're going to cover in Chapter 11, Section 11.3. We've done graphing radical equations. We've done solving or simplifying radical expressions. Now we're going to solve radical equations. And just so you know, radical equation is an equation where we're actually taking the square root of one of our variables, okay, in particular, which is usually x, okay. If you have an equation that has a square root in it but isn't taking the square root of x, then it wouldn't be a radical equation. It's just an equation that has a different type of coefficient, like square root of 2, but then x is with it. Well, that's just x times, some number, some irrational number. Okay, it's really the same as if you have 2x, right? That's a linear equation. Well, this is the same thing. It's just that we have an irrational number times x as opposed to like a number like 2, like a integer. So radical equations, anything that has our variable under the square root, because it's going to be taking the square root of our answers, okay, of possible solutions. Now, good thing about solving one of these equations, don't have to teach you really any new steps. Take a look at this problem. Imagine it said this, 2x plus 10 equals 60, okay? Think about what you do in this equation to solve. Well, we do a lot of the same steps here because I just have one term or one term in this problem that has x in it. I can isolate that x and then look to do something to solve at the very end that deals with that square root. Something that, again, like doing inverse operations. So starting this one off, I'm going to draw my line here to get going. I'm going to minus 10 from both sides, just like I would for a linear. 10 minus 10 makes 0. Cancels that out. I get 2 times the square root of 10. 2 times square root of x equals 50 over here. Divide both sides by 2. Square root of x equals 25, okay? So again, realize what this equation is saying. Take the square root of a number in here, and you get 25. So don't be quick to jump to thinking the answer is 5, right? It's not saying the square root of 25. It's saying square root something and get 25, okay? So what could that possibly be? Well, again, think about what we're really doing in this problem to find this answer. It's kind of like, I hesitate to do it a little bit, and I'll talk about why, but it's kind of like you're squaring both sides, right? Think back to our inverse operations. What's the inverse of adding? Inverse of adding is subtracting. What's the inverse of multiplying? The inverse of that is dividing. What's the inverse of taking the square root of something? Well, it's taking it to the second power, taking that number back to the second power. That would undo that action. So if we're square rooting a number to get 25, it's like we need to square it, kind of like we're squaring both sides in a way, okay? And I'll talk about this and why this does work to find us answers, but something we have to be careful of, okay? Again, way to always check and make sure you're getting the right answer is take it and plug it back in and see if it works back in the original equation, right? 625 square rooted would be 25. 25 times 2 would give me 50, plus 10 would give me 60. Yep, so that will work in this equation, okay? There's us solving our first radical equation. Let's solve another one. This one looks pretty similar. I'm going to add 3 to both sides of the equation. 3's cancel out here. 12 square root of y is equal to 9 in this case after I've added the 3 to both sides. Again, trying to isolate my variable and divide both sides by 12. So the square root of y equals 9 over 12, which reduces to just 3/4. And again, what I'm really doing is, since it's square root of y, well, what I'm doing to make this work is squaring it, which works. But again, we'll talk about being careful with this in just a little bit. That'll give me y equals, and then squaring 3/4 gives me 9 over 16. Okay, and especially with this, what we're doing here, though, we should, as we talked about with the top one, recheck it to make sure it actually works in the problem. If I take the square root of 9/16, I'll get 3/4. 3/4 times 12 will give me 9. 9 minus 3 gives me 6. So yes, this one does work as well, just like 625 did. Okay, so you notice with radical equations, again, one of our key hints seems to be squaring both sides. In this problem here, I have square roots on both sides of the equation. And since I do, and they're the only things kind of alone by themselves, there's nothing else added or subtracted outside, anything that would make it kind of goofy, I can also, just like we did in the other ones, is square both sides, because that's like the inverse of square rooting, and this will just give me and allow me now to work with just what's on the inside. 3x minus 17 equals x plus 21. Now I can subtract x from both sides and get 2x minus 17 equals 21, and add 17 to both sides, and I'll just bring it over here so I have a little more space. 2x equals, I think I had 38 there. Divide both sides by 2, I'm getting x equals 19. And again, rechecking these, especially in this section, you're going to find out is very important. Rechecking it to make sure that it does work and makes the original equation true. Well, this side would be 19 plus 21 would be 40, so square root of 40. And I don't even have to figure that out yet. Let me just see if I get square root of 40 on the other side. Plugging 19 into this side, 19 times 3 is 57. 57 minus 17 would be 40 as well. Yep, square rooted. And so yes, square root of 40 equals the square root of 40. 19 is my correct solution. Okay, so this trick, again, seems to be working pretty great for a lot of these problems. Just notice, I just kind of briefly mentioned it above, but in this problem, if you're going to get rid of those square roots, if I was going to try to square both sides right now because of there's square roots on each side, this actually would be a situation where I would have to FOIL, and I would get a way kind of bigger mess than what I would have to deal with if I do other little trick to get rid of these square roots like I did with the one above. So if you remember, I mentioned it's nice actually if you can even, just like with any other expression or term or anything, I can actually take this whole thing here, this square root of 2x minus 1, and add that to both sides, because if I have the negative of something and I add it, well, it'll just cancel out, right? So I'm actually going to take that and add it to the other side, that 2x minus 1. You can do that whole part of the expression. And now what I've got is x plus 4 on the left side. Okay, that's all that's left over here. Equals 2x minus 1 on the right side. And this, just because of the way it's set up, is actually a little bit better for us to just square both sides and then go ahead and keep solving. Okay, now I'm going to get x plus 4 equals 2x minus 1. I can keep solving by subtracting the x from both sides and the 1 to both sides. If I just kind of skip through here a little bit to get to our answer, I'm getting x equals 5. And again, we definitely need to check it though in the original problem to make sure things are checking out with these problems. So in these ones where I have to solve square roots, x in this case is 5, so 5 plus 4 gives me 9. Square root of 9 would be 3 in this one. Okay, plug it into the other x, the original problem. Okay, and I know I changed the original problem around a little bit so I could solve, but it'll still work to check my answer. 2 times 10 gives me 5, 2 times 5 gives me 10, minus 1 gives me 9, square root of 9 is also 3. So this would be 3 minus 3, which the original equation said was 0, which is true. Okay, on our third slide, I'm going to go through why I've been saying so much that, especially with radical equations, you need to check your solutions, okay? Because when we're doing this trick where we are squaring both sides, as you've seen me use, this actually is transforming, making kind of a new equation. But the new equation will allow us sometimes to get to an answer for our original, okay? But as you can imagine, that there's kind of a problem with that because we are changing the equation. So what we sometimes get is something called extraneous solutions, okay, when we do this technique, extraneous solutions. So especially in this section, you need to be checking all your solutions because some of them are actually answers. It's kind of like fake answers. They actually don't work in the original problem, okay? Extraneous solution, a solution of a transformed equation. We've transformed it. It's not equivalent. It's a new equation. And the solutions we get are not a solution to the original equation. Take a look at my examples down here, okay? So again, we've talked about this in the past, how, for a regular equation, I can do a lot of different operations that always work. I can add something to both sides, okay? If I take, this is a very simple equation, no variables or anything, it's very straightforward, 7 equals 7. Yes, we all agree. Add 2 to both sides, it would be 9 equals 9. Yep, that would work. If I multiply those sides by 2, I get 14 equals 14. Yes, that totally works. If I square both sides, which I can. Okay, I can take both sides and square them. I'll get 14 equals 14. Yep, 49 equals 49. Sorry, guys. 49 equals 49, okay? And yes, that totally works, and it seems to work out just fine, right? But look at the next problem, okay? This right here, this says, negative 3 equals positive 3. Well, that's not true at all, right? Okay, that's not even a true statement. And if I try to do things like I usually would with an equation, if I add 2 to both sides, it's still, I'd get negative 1 equals 5. Okay, so that wouldn't make the equation true. If I multiply things by it, that won't make the equation true. But if I take this right now and I square both sides, all of a sudden, negative 3 squared is positive 9. Positive 3 squared is positive 9. Now, all of a sudden, I've done something that made this equation true when the original problem was not even a true statement. Okay, and so maybe that hopefully kind of shows like why this squaring, this technique, is kind of funky. It can work, but it can also make equations that aren't true. Okay, in other words, and also then give us answers that don't work in the original problem. Okay. My third example may be the best one here now. I've got an equation. Okay, in this equation, you can see like it's a very simple equation, but it's just x equals negative 7. So like that's our answer, right? Well, if I take this, okay, and I square both sides, again, what I'm really doing is making a brand new equation. This would be x squared equals 7 squared is 49. We've solved problems like this just recently. It's a quadratic equation, right? Degree of 2. And so that means there should be 2 possible answers. Well, as we learned, the answers are when you kind of square root both sides, or what numbers can I plug in here and square them and get 49? Well, it's 7 and negative 7, okay? But those would be my solutions, you would think, for the problem I just solved, except only one of them works back in the original equation where it really came from. The one solution that's right is negative 7. 7 is an extraneous solution. You can just abbreviate it with an ES for now. I'd like you to write it out, but really you can just abbreviate it, put ES, and I like to cross it off too. I want you to as well. Put a little X over it, okay? I still want to see it here. I want to see it in your answers, but do put a little X over to say, oh, that's not an answer to the real equation though, okay? Why did that still help us? Sometimes doing this technique of squaring both sides will help us get to the answer and see we did get the right answer, but it also gave us a fake one, an extraneous solution, okay? So trying this one right here, okay, this one is one where I've got the square root by itself on one side, so what I could do is square both sides, just like we've been talking about. If I square both sides, it does help. Otherwise, I couldn't solve this problem, so that's why it's still a good thing to do. So over here now I get 6 plus x, and that's out of the square root now. And on this side I get x squared. Okay, now I've got a quadratic. So maybe one way to solve is by trying to factor, right? I could also do complete the square or quadratic formula, but I think what I'm going to do is try to factor, because I think this one will factor. So I'm going to subtract 6 and subtract x and move them over to this side. And so it's going to be 0 equals x squared minus x. Oops, I just keep writing things wrong tonight. Minus x minus 6, okay? And this actually will factor into two binomials, x minus 3 and x plus 2. So I'm going to get two answers. X equals 3 and negative 2 for my two solutions, okay? But as we just talked about, I need to take those and plug them back in and make sure they both work. So let me plug in 3 and make sure it works in both spots for x. 6 plus 3 gives me 9. Square root of 9 is 3. So that part checks out, and I get a 3 on the other side. So 3 is a good solution, okay? Let me check negative 2. Negative 2, you guys want to get rid of some of these lines here, get rid of some of this. Negative 2, if I take that and plug that up in there, okay? And maybe some of you can start to see what's going to happen already. Negative 2 goes in here and here in the original problem. Before I squared anything, just the original problem. 6 plus negative 2 gives me square root of 4, and that's supposed to equal when I put negative 2 on the other side. Square root of 4 is 2, not negative 2, so that is an extraneous solution. It doesn't actually work in the original problem. That's what we got to be careful of when we're going through these problems today. Look for extraneous solutions, you guys.